What's up, everybody? It's your play cousin, Dr. Elijah Bradford. Folks, we are back with my very special guest, Miss Joy Harris. Joy, how are you?
I'm great. How are you guys?
I'm doing very well.
I'm doing great. How are you?
Fantastic. Thanks for having me.
Listen, it is our pleasure. Folks, we have the granddaughter of Miss Maggie Ingram, and she recently just wrote a biography on Miss Ingram, and the title of the book is
Singing Ain't Enough, the inspiring story of Maggie Ingram.
Yes. For those of you who don't know who Maggie Ingram is, you have to have been under a rock someplace. But everybody knows Maggie Ingram, the Richmond, Virginia flood, Like a Ship, and on and on and on and on. But Joy has taken it upon herself to make sure that her grandmother's legacy and her story never dies. Joy, the first question I wanted to ask you was, did you know growing up that your grandmother was as impactful as she was, or was it just, this is just my grandmother, Maggie?
It was a combination of both. I knew that she was impactful because of the amount of people that were kind of always surrounding our family. And then even her like coming to my elementary school, it was a big deal. And so I knew she was a big deal, and I didn't quite put the pieces together as to like why she was a big deal in the community. But the way people treated her and how she was always paying attention to people off stage, I kind of knew, okay, it's something different about my family that's not quite like the other families that are going to the grocery store on Saturday mornings.
Wow. And for folks that don't know, Miss Tina, well, her real name is Christine.
Yes.
But Tina is your mom, which is one of the Ingramettes.
Yes.
And so tell us, how was it growing up? You know, I'm certain there were a lot of, Saturdays and Sundays where they were on the road. And tell us how that experience was, watching your mom leave for the weekend and then coming back. How was that, like, from a child's point of view? How did you do that? And did you know that your mother was even as influential as she was?
Well, I think one of the important things that my grandmother did, which I think she had some foresight that some other groups kind of didn't have coming up in her era, was she kept us all together. So all the grandchildren traveled with all the parents, all the husbands traveled with the wives with the husbands. So we didn't have the situation where I was with a sitter on the weekend and my mom and my grandmother was out singing. We all like got on the van or got on the bus together. My grandmother at one point in time bought her own tour bus with her own money, which was unheard of at the time. It would have equated to something like $70,000 in today's money. So black woman, non-educated, being able to pull something like that off was remarkable in and of itself. But she was really big on keeping us all together. So, sometimes on Fridays after school, we all loaded up, we all traveled all weekend, and then you came back after the greatest shows that ever happened. Really early Monday morning, and we slept kind of in between the seats and coddled with our parents, and went off to school that Monday morning. So it wasn't a time we were ever kind of unattached from our family. She made sure that we were kept all together.
Okay, well, let me ask you this question. Can you remember the first Ingramette song you ever heard? Like, can you think back that far and say, oh my God, that's my mom singing with that group?
The first Ingramette song I think that I could put together is like, okay, my mom is doing something, was Be Sure You Hold, which was a song that she led. So most of the time my mom is a really great, warm tenor, and so she held the bass a lot in their music, and that was one of the songs where she got a chance to lead. And so I kind of was my more like, oh, okay, like you actually have like a skill and a gift that people respond to. So that's a great memory for me. And even when I was writing the book, I played every song off every album. So to play it and my kids kind of get to hear the music and to see their reactions, that was a really great moment for me.
Wow.
Well, my question is, what prompted you or inspired you to write the book?
Well, one of the things, if you ever get a chance to read the book, there are a lot of amazing, like just unheard of stories in there. For example, how she kind of ran off a cliff with her 5 children on the way to her first record deal, and they hung there for what seemed like hours. And so hearing that story and then hearing how she was healed from cancer miraculously, actually. So I had all these stories that I knew about growing up as a child, and so I kind of wanted to do my own digging to say, okay, are these stories real, or are they fabricated, or have they been stretched? And so it started off as my own kind of curiosity. Was trying to put her life together, and then the more I dug and the more research I got into and was able to document the things that she went to, I was like, okay, so you really are amazing. It's not just like made up in song form, but the stories that you're singing about, the stories that you're telling are true. And I just knew if people knew her story in its entirety, then people would be inspired to overcome their own set of adversity. So it started off as my own kind of journey of curiosity, but then turned into something much more.
Okay, now Joy, one of the things that really drew me in the book, because I have the book.
Yay!
Okay? But one of the things that really drew me in the book was it made Maggie Ingram a real person to me.
Yes.
Because, you know, sometimes we see the person that's on the stage and we see the lights, we see the camera, action, and we kind of make this person larger than life. But the book kind of made her, a real person to me. She had her ups, she had her downs. I mean, she went through the same thing that other women go through, and you have to get the book to find out things that she went through. But one of the questions that I wanted to ask you was, because the book was so real, and because the book reveals so much, was it a challenge to get like family members to open up about things that perhaps they had buried in the past or didn't want to talk about or didn't want to become public?
I think sometimes, like any human being, you have certain emotions attached to certain things that are happening in your life, and some of them are harder and difficult to talk about. My commitment in the book was to tell the truth, and wherever the research led me, that's what I would do. And so it was important for me to present her as a human. I think if you knew her personally, you knew that she loved people, and she loved people that were often forgotten. She loved people that people looked down on. She loved people who had mental illnesses. You talked about that earlier, and I was so proud of you guys bringing that kind of conversation in a Christian setting, because that doesn't happen in the church. We don't talk about it. You pray about it, go talk to Jesus, get you some oil, you'll be all right. But people actually really need conversation so that they can identify feelings that they're having and what they're going through. So it was important for me to present her how she was in the real world, how she was off stage, how she had private conversations with people. And so that kind of gave me the courage to say, okay, I have to take people's emotions and feelings and put them to the side in order to present something that could be a bigger healing tool for the public. And I think that's how she lived her life. She sacrificed a lot, especially being a single mother with 5 children. There's a lot of adversity that happens. Even in gospel music, at one point in time, was strictly a male-dominated field. You had women groups here and there, but you definitely didn't have women leading men at that point in time. That was like taboo. You were not filled with any type of spirit from anybody's church. So she did a lot of things that were trailblazing. And I think, she always was concerned about emotions. She wouldn't have gotten as far as she got.
Wow. And folks, if you don't have this book yet, Singing Ain't Enough, The Life of Maggie Ingram, you're already behind, because Joy, when I was researching you the other day, I found out that you're already working on something else big. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so we're in the beginning stages right now, but we're looking at turning the book into a movie. And so I'll definitely keep people abreast as we go on with that process. But something that's really intriguing to me is we have a lot of Christian and faith-based stories that you see, but we don't really have a lot of those stories that stem or come from our community, that come from our culture, that speak to our experiences. But we also don't have a lot of those stories that present the Christian walk as something that's real, something that happens in your everyday life. Like, yes, after I get off stage, I also have to go home with my spouse, and I'm upset that day, or we have the kids, and I'm balancing budgets and praying for you, and I also have to get dinner ready, so all the dynamic of being a human. So it's something that I'm really interested in exploring in a new way that hasn't been done before, not your normal, Jesus came and pierced through a cloud and rained on it. Sometimes you have to go through adversity, and sometimes you have to pray and walk with God while you're on your way going through adversity. So I'm excited about it. I'm excited about the journey that it's taking me on. Trying to wear a producer hat in this situation, but learning a lot as I go along. So stay tuned, and I'll definitely keep you guys posted.
Okay, and where can people get the book, Joy?
So the book is available on Amazon and on Barnes and Nobles. You can get your copy of Singing It Up there. And if you're an ebook reader, from now until the end of Cyber Monday, the ebook is only 99 cents. So I want to make sure that the book gets in the hands of as many people as possible. The hardcover is actually on sale as well. And so again, both of those are available on either Amazon or Barnes and Noble.
Okay, folks, and listen, what I'm doing, because we're celebrating Maggie Ingram tonight, you can go to my website. If you go to my website today, download my new album for $1.97. You can win a chance to get Joy's book for free. Okay? $1.97. Download my new album. You get Maggie Ingram's book free. Okay, Joy, thank you so much for coming on, folks. Don't stay tuned, because we have Joy's sister, Cheryl, who's coming up next to talk about her experience being an Ingramette and also how she was able to bounce back from addiction. But right now, we're going to that song that Joy talked about earlier that her mom sang, Miss Tina, Be Sure You Hold and Grip the Solid Rock. Maggie Ingram and the Ingramette. What's up, everybody? It's your play cousin, Dr. Elijah Bradford.